Hi, welcome to this next video where we're going to talk about creating a team and the difference between teams and channels and when you might use one over the other, etc. So you'll see I'm in the team section within Microsoft Teams here on the left-hand side. And I'm actually a member of one team already since we saw the first video. So I've got this newsletter, content and ideas channel. But what I'm going to do first is create a new team. Now, a couple of considerations you might want to take into your thought process when creating teams is that when you create a team at this level, at this moment in time, permissions are not very granular. So you can't apply different permissions like you would in a folder structure. So this newsletter team has different channels. These are channels underneath the team. And whoever is a member of the team can see all of these channels. There is one way of kind of creating what they call private channels, but it could get quite messy with permissions if you want to try and do lots of weird things. So the first item to consider really is who needs permission to that team. So for example, if you were creating that HR team, it could be that everybody in the HR department would have access to that channel. So yeah, just plan out really well who needs access to what information, and try not to overlap information too much between different teams. So we're actually going to create a channel now. We're going to go down here and, or a team rather. We're going to go down here and say join or create a team. I'm going to click on there, and then we're going to go here and say create team. So the team we're going to create is actually a sales and marketing team, just because I have some content ready for such a team. So first of all, you get two options. Do you want to build your team from scratch, or do you want to convert an existing or create it from an existing Office 365 group or team? For the purposes of this demo and for most of your requirements, it's going to be to build a team from scratch. So we'll select that option, and then you get the option to say what kind of team will this be. And basically you have two options, a private or a public team. Private, people have to request permission or you have to add them to the team to be able to see it. A public is visible to anybody in the company. And if you were a global administrator on Office 365, you would actually see a third option here. First of all, you shouldn't be a global administrator on Office 365 because that's a security risk, but you'll be able to see a third option there called create an organizational-wide team, and that automatically adds everybody into that team, which can be very useful, especially when you're first setting out to have a team that everybody is a member of, and that's something you should get your IT department or IT engineers to sort out for you. So I'm going to create this particular team to be a private team. So we're going to give it a name. I'm going to prefix it with demo because I actually have a sales marketing already. There you go, sales and marketing. And if you wish to, you can put a brief description in there to say what our team is about. But actually, as a department of the business, it's pretty self-explanatory already. But where you may want to put a description is if it's for a particular project or a particular area of storing information. So once you've done that, you just click create, and that goes away and creates a team. It will take a few seconds. And then because I created this as a private team, it's now saying, okay, who do you want to be a member? And literally you can start typing, and you can literally add people like that. So type the name in, click it, and click on add. You'll then see below, or next to them rather, you can see they're being added as what's called a member. You can change them to an owner of the channel. of the team rather, and that would then give them permission to be able to invite people into the team and do some other administrative tasks that a member couldn't. But for the moment, I'm going to leave them as members, and we're going to close. And what you'll see now here is that I have my demo sales and marketing team, and underneath it, it has a general channel. Now, these come as default on every team you create. You cannot delete them, so embrace them. Didn't particularly like them at first, but you can't do anything with them, so you might as well use them for kind of the generic area, if you like, of your teams. So a couple of quick things after that. So you'll see after each team or channel, you have the ellipsis, the 3 dots. If you click on those, you then get some options. So you can hide the teams, you can manage the team, where again, you can then see who is a member and what permission level they have. Any requests from people that want to join the team. Under the settings here, you can add things like pictures, general permissions, what they can and can't do within that team. Those kind of things are mostly a little bit more advanced, but as long as you know where to find them, if you want to change them at a later date. You've also got guest permissions, so you can allow guests to create or update channels, or also, I'm not quite sure why you would, but delete channels. And this is one of the really useful things within Teams, the app mentions. So you can see the options that you can kind of mention the whole channel or team in one go to get people's attention. Cool. So we'll head back. You've got the same options. Sorry, we'll go back to there first. So that was managing the team. You've got add a channel, so general is a channel. And a channel would be a way of organizing some data. So for example, I'm going to create a channel that is called advertising materials, and the privacy level there, you noticed I mentioned private channels earlier. So within the standard access is for everybody in that team to have access to everything in that channel. But if you were to select it as a private channel, you've then got to basically set the permissions again. But it can only be those that are already a member of the team. Hope that makes sense. So if you've got 5 people that you've got Bob, Joe, Mary, Jane, and Fred that are members of the team, you could have just say Bob and Fred that are a member of the private channel, but you couldn't have Bob and John because John is not within that channel already. So we'll leave that as standard. Maybe useful to starting out with, you can automatically show the channel in everyone's list. Sometimes, especially if you get a lot of channels, they are hidden out of view until people actually unhide them. So certainly nowadays, starting out, I'd say automatically show the channel in everyone's list. And we're going to add that. So that's adding the channel. And then you'll see we have then our second channel under the sales and marketing team. So over here on the right hand side, you can see we have kind of the instant messaging area where we can type messages, and the files area. Files I will cover a little bit later in another video, but you can basically upload your files here, so then when anybody has access to Microsoft Teams, they all have access to the files that they may require. So let's go back to the posts, and again you can, so I made Andy and Ian a member of this team, so I'm going to just mention Andy by starting off with the @ symbol. Andy, this is the new demo team I've set up, and I'll send that. So that's doing two things. So because I've mentioned Andy in that comment, he will be notified. So actually he'll get a little pop-up on his computer, and it'll also be underneath his activity within Teams. You can then reply to messages and keep them in threads. So conversations are easy. Unlike Andy there, where he just created a new message instead. I'll show you how actually. So please use the threads to keep messages neat. There you go. And he realized the error of his way there, and he deleted his comment and actually put it back in the thread. So, right. So we created a channel, and the channel is underneath the team. And we've just had a quick chat there. And that's pretty much all there is to creating a team. So just to recap, you need to kind of keep these teams to be a unit of organization where the permission levels are generally the same. So that may be a business department, HR, sales and marketing, where everybody would need access to the same materials. Because those permissions then apply to all the channels below them. Where you may need to add a level of differing permissions, you can add a private channel. And actually, we'll just go ahead and do this now. We will add a channel. So we're going to click on the ellipse there next to the team. We're going to add a channel. And I'm just going to call it marketing managers. And I'm going to create it as a private channel. Then it just gives you the option on the next channel to, again, put the people in there that you need. So again, I'm going to say, pick on Andy. I'm going to add Andy. And again, he's a member or an owner of the channel. He'll be a member. So done. And next to a private channel, you will see a padlock. So only Andy and myself can see that private channel. Other members of the team will not even realize that channel exists because it is private between the people you select. Generally, when something is in bold, there's been some activity within that channel or team, and just click into that and see what's been going on. So again, that was actually my last message. So permissions, think about them before you create them. You can get yourself into a real mess if you just start creating all sorts of things on the fly. We've had clients that create masses of teams when actually our preferred method around this is to keep the team list fairly short and create multiple channels. And then it's also much easier for you to find the information that you need. So there's permissions and kind of teams versus channels. So a team is kind of the top level organizational unit, and below that are kind of further divisions of that organization, if you like. So it's the team level is the filing cabinet drawer, and the channels below it are the folders within the filing cabinet. Hopefully that's been useful. I will jump into some more features of the team, such as using it with files, some further chat, and collaboration tools in another video. But for now, I'll let you get creating your teams and channels. Like I say, just think about what you're doing first and you'll be fine.